to, like, you think about canter is kind of hard, right? You guys agree? Like, canter is like harder than trot and walk. And so it's like, well, how do we release a horse to canter? Okay, well, again, if we're playing chess with our horse, instead of tic-tac-toe, we're gonna do something before we ask for canter. And when we ask for canter, we're gonna try to take pressure off instead of applying pressure, okay? So this is also, if you do this little drill that I'm gonna do next, this is also a setup for a flying lead change. And if I could hear correctly in the background there, James and Dan Sears talking about lead changes, weren't they? Their demo? Did they explain, were they teaching how to do the lead change?
Yes.
No, they're showing doing them? Okay, so I'm gonna show you guys a technique that I call a prep step. So this is a little prep step. So I got my horse, he's trotting around, everything's kind of nice, and I'm gonna tip his nose to the inside, and I'm gonna push his shoulder over. In that moment of flexing his head and pushing his shoulder over, pressure is now on, okay? So then when I get to where I wanna ask for the lope, I'm gonna release my inside leg, give a smooch, and lope off. Does that make sense, everybody? So that's just a little easy prep step, and it's a pattern if you start to do it kind of regularly by a rail. So 3 of the things that I'm kind of always thinking about when I'm training a horse is confidence, yields. So I needed him to bend his nose. I needed him to be comfortable in here. Could you guys agree if he was scared of the banners, I wouldn't be able to go to the rail, and all of a sudden it would look like he doesn't yield off my leg, it doesn't flex, I have all these problems, but it's really he's just scared of the rail. Does that make sense? So I need confidence. Then I need him to understand that when I tip his nose this way and apply my left leg, to yield off of it. So if they don't do this, I gotta teach that. And then if I do this in a pattern a few times in a row, I will create what we like to call a positive anticipation. So I'm gonna turn off the rail here, I'm gonna yield his shoulder to the rail, nose is tipped in, you guys see it? Release my leg, and lope off. Now, if I was at canter, when I did that, that would be called a flying lead change. If I did it during canter, I did it out of a trot there. Now, do you guys know what a flying lead change is? Can anybody give me I can feel a lot of head nods. You guys are a really educated crowd. You guys are probably one of the most educated crowds that we all get to present to every year. It's really fantastic. It's one of the special things about this environment here. Yeah, give yourselves a hand. I heard you guys telling Rob to declare. You weren't gonna let him get out of line there. And so, lead changes can be one of the more difficult maneuvers to teach a horse. But what I see happen is people think, I'm kind of scared, I don't want to mess it up, so I'm just not gonna try it. And guess what happens if you never try it? Do you think you'll be great at lead changes? No. You gotta go try it and mess it up and learn how to do it and get better. Does that make sense? You gotta fail often and fail forward. You gotta experiment, you gotta go out and make mistakes. But here's a way to mitigate mistakes. So there's teaching lead changes to a horse, and there's teaching lead changes to the person. And so I'm gonna go through those real quick. What if I told you that everybody, while you're sitting there, you could start practicing the flying lead change? You guys might be like, this guy's crazy, what's he talking about? Okay, I want you guys to play along with me right now, okay? So everybody, I'm gonna do a right to left lead change on this line at a walk. So what you're gonna do is in your seat, you're gonna lead with the right side of your body. So your left leg is back, your right hand is forward, just slightly, you're just tipped, just cocked in your seat a little bit, okay? So I'm riding a right lead canter right now. This is the position of a right lead canter. So the first step to think about a flying change is I'm gonna change my horse's flexion from the right to the left. So I'm on a right lead, tip the nose to the left. That's step 1. Step 2, I'm gonna ride his shoulders off that line. Do you guys see that? I stepped his shoulders over here. He exaggerated it slightly. That leaves his hip to the inside, doesn't it? Can you guys see how that creates that biomechanics there? And so now, in order to get his shoulder over here to the right, I applied my left leg. So I'm yielding him over here. If I was at a right lead canter and I released my leg, you guys remember what we just did on the rail? Release my right leg, that means left lead canter, that direction. We could maybe create a flying lead change. Does that make sense, everybody? Okay, let's do this. Let's do it a little bit quicker. Again, you guys are gonna do this with me. We're gonna do it right to left again. We're riding a right canter, we got a right bend, our right hips, shoulders are forward. We're gonna change the bend to the left. We're still going straight though. We're gonna push the shoulders off that line. Then we're gonna release this leg. And if you lope off out of that, that's what tells the horse to come out on that left lead. Does that make sense, everybody? All right. So how many of you could go home and try that at a walk with your horse? And you could start working on flying lead changes, okay? That's for you. Now, let me give you a pro tip here of one of the biggest mistakes that riders make when they're asking for the flying lead change. They go like this. This is like classic. Some of you in this arena have done this with me before. Right canter, right canter, right canter, left canter. Do you guys see what I did? My hands were to the right, and when I decided to change leads, I switched my hands. When you switch your hands, you change directions. When you switch directions, your horse may or may not change leads, but even if they do a flying change, I bet you they understood change directions more than they understood change leads. Did you guys follow that? It's very easy to get your horse to be thinking about the wrong thing while you're trying to put something on him. And so the secret is, if I'm on a right lead canter, and I'm gonna go try a flying lead change on the center line, make believe here. We're on a right lead canter. I'm gonna change the bend to the left. I'm gonna push the shoulders over, and I'm gonna ask for the change, and he doesn't change. Now we're counter cantering. He's on a right lead, but we're going left. Guess what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna come down to a standstill, and I'm gonna move his hip in, and I'm gonna finish in this shape. Because what am I shaped up to do right now? Take a left lead. So you don't have to fix it at a canter. You can fix it at a standstill. So I'm gonna ask for it at the canter. If he doesn't get it, as long as in a standstill, I finish and haunches into the left, we're gonna be golden. Let the pattern do the work. Go try it again. But if you go down the line and you try a flying lead change and your horse misses it because they didn't know what you meant, and you go, I said change leads, and you give them the beans, what are you gonna do? You're gonna scare your horse, and guess what they're not gonna like anymore? Who's ever seen a horse that learned to run off during a flying lead change? Yeah, it's pretty easy to do because cantering is an emotional gait for a horse. And so I want to recognize that we're in a teaching stage for the first time you're introducing this to a horse. So they're not in trouble if they miss it. I'm gonna cue them, I'm gonna ask, and I'm gonna finish in the correct position because I believe these horses actually want to do what we want them to do if we can present it to them in the right way. Does that make sense? But they're seeking comfort and relief, yeah. They're seeking comfort and relief, so if we can show them that our idea is comfortable, they're gonna seek it more. So I've done this ride on Lambo, the prep steps, about 4 times. So if you guys are ready, I'm gonna give him a try on a flying lead change. Does that sound okay? All right. And then I'm gonna show the most basic lead change pattern that I like to do. Let's see, how are we gonna do this? I'm gonna do it away from the gate because I don't want him to get sweet running out the gate. So what I'm gonna do is be on this rail, and I'm gonna show you the pattern that we're gonna use. It's the same one we did earlier. And then Emily's gonna show a little fancier version of this. So we're coming down the rail. We'll do it at a low. So we're on a right lead. Watch what I do here. I'm gonna change the bend to the left, and I'm gonna ride his shoulders to the right. Do you guys see it? We're in a position right now, if I leave my hands over here, Now, did he do a flying lead change? And he broke gait, didn't he? He got unsure when I switched my legs and he went, I'm not